Hello dear students. So now in this particular session we are going to discuss the questions of computer science and engineering paper of Andhra Pradesh. Okay, so you can see here the first of all the question number 1, that would be the first question of the paper. There are total 100 questions. We are going to discuss each and every question one by one. Okay, so as you can see that the first question is, which of the following is a universal gate? So there are 4 options and they're asking you which gate is the universal gate. So as we know that there are 2 gates, they are called a universal gate. The first gate is what? It is an AND gate, and the second gate is what? It is a NOR gate. Why we are saying that they are universal gate? Because with the help of NAND gate and NOR gate, we can make any digital circuit, any Boolean expression we can implement with the help of this 2. So that's why we are saying that these gates are universal gate, and because of that you need to go with the answer third one. Okay, so third is the correct answer, NAND gate. If at the place of NAND gate they are saying that the NOR, then NOR is also the correct answer. So you should remember that particular point. Let's move to the next question. Here they are asking you which of the following is not a combinational circuit. Okay, so basically we can say that there are 2 type of circuit. The one is the combinational circuit and another one is what? It is a sequential circuit. So if output of circuit is also taken as an input to that circuit, then such type of circuit is called a sequential circuit. And in the combinational circuit, there is an input and corresponding to that there is an output. We are not using that output as a feedback. Okay, so in a flip-flop we are using output as a feedback, so that's why it is a sequential circuit. It is not a combinational circuit. While in decoder, multiplexer and adder, okay, decoder, multiplexer and adder, what we can say, we are not using output as a feedback, so that's why they are combinational circuit. So you can go with first answer, flip-flop is not a combinational circuit. Now they are asking you the question about the device that is a demultiplexer. Okay, can we say that the demultiplexer, the work of demultiplexer is just reverse of multiplexer? What is the mux? So mux is nothing, it is simply there are certain input devices and corresponding to that there are certain output devices. Okay, there is certain input and corresponding to that there is certain output. Let's see. So first of all, what we can say, in the multiplexer there is some selection line. Supposed to be there are n selection line, then corresponding to that n selection lines we are having 2 raised to n input lines. That selection lines are going to decide which input line is going to give the input, and corresponding to that there is only one output. While if we are talking about the demultiplexer, demux, again there are n selection lines, there is only one input line but 2 raised to n output lines. So this selection lines are going to decide which output line is going to produce the output. So route a single input to multiple outputs. There is a single input and corresponding to that multiple outputs. So that is the demultiplexer. So you can go with the answer last. Let's move to the next one. See here, simply we need to convert a number into the decimal number. The given number is the binary number and we want to change that number to the decimal. So see, this is your binary number. If you want to change that number to the decimal number, so you need to assign a weight to each position. The least significant bit position is 2 raised to 0. Here is 2 raised to 1. This is 2 square. This is 2 cube. This is 2 raised to 4 and this is 2 raised to 5. Simply multiply like this and just take addition between them. So what we can say, this is 2, this is 2 raised to 0, this is 1, plus just take addition, 2 into 1 become 2, plus 2 into 0, 2 square into 0, 0, 2 cube into 0, 0, 2 raised to 4 is 16, 16 into 1 is 16, 2 raised to 5 is 32, 32 into 1 is 32. Just take addition of this, that would be your answer. So 32 plus 16 become 48 plus 2, 50 plus 1, 51. So what we can say that second one is your answer. You can go with the 51. Okay, so this is simply the process of converting binary number to decimal number. Are you getting that point? Let's see. Let's see with the next question. The number of selection lines in a multiplexer of 8 cross 1. So what we can say? In the multiplexer of 8 cross 1 means there is a 8 input lines, 8 input line, 1 output line. So as we know that the number of selection lines are how much? 3 selection lines are there. If 3 selection lines are there, then 2 to the power 3 means 8 input lines are there. So that's why we can go with the answer is what? It's 3. So 3 is your answer. Are you getting that point? Let's move to the next question. Let's move to the next question. A sequential logical circuit that toggles its output state on each clock pulse is. So T flip-flop is called a toggle flip-flop. Simply what is the output of that? So if the input is 1, it gives you 0 and vice versa. So T flip-flop is a toggle flip-flop. A sequential circuit that toggle its output state on each clock pulse. Simply T flip-flop. Let's move to the next question. Convert the decimal number 108 to its octal representation. So you just remember one point. Whenever there is a decimal number and you want to change that to the any other radix, you need to divide that number by that radix. So I want to convert that into the octal number. So I need to divide 108 by 8. Okay. So let's see. Simply what would be the divisor and what would be the quotient and remainder for this. So simply when we are doing 108 divided by 8, so its remainder value is 4 and there is 13. Okay. Now 8, so remainder value is 5 and there is 1. Now when I am going to divide 1 by 8, it's 1. Now I need to write that remainder in the reverse order. So 154 is the octal number. So when you want to change 108 to octal, just divide, take a remainder value and write that in a reverse order. So that would be your answer, 154. Got it? Let's see. If you want to simplify this, what would be the result? Okay. So that would be the Boolean expression. So A dot with A, can we say that it is A dot A plus A dot with C, it is simply A dot C plus B dot with A, so we can say that B dot A plus B dot C, we can say that it is B dot C. Okay. A dot A become A plus AC, we can say that AB or BA, the meaning is same, and this is BC. Now from this complete I can take A as a common. So 1 plus C plus B plus BC. Now 1 plus anything become 1, that would be the property. So this complete values become 1. Now A dot 1 become A only. So the simplified version is nothing, it's simply A plus BC. You can go with the last answer. Let's see the next question. Now, the previous 8 questions are related to the digital logic subject. Now, the questions are related from the software engineering. What is the primary purpose of software requirement specification document? What is the work of SRS? To define the coding standards, to outline the software design, to describe the functional and non-functional requirement to test the software. So, SRS, as name suggests, software requirement specification. So can we say that it is going to specify the requirements of software? Now there are basically 2 types of requirement. The first requirement is the functional requirement and the second requirement is the non-functional requirement. If you are talking about the functional requirement or non-functional requirement, means the requirement that are compulsory. Without that requirement your system is not going to work. They are the functional requirement. And non-functional requirements are simply, somehow we can say that it simply beautify your software. That is non-functional requirement. So in SRS document we are specifying both the things. So that's why you can go with the third answer. Third is the correct one. Got it? Let's move to the next question. 110. The second phase of waterfall model, definitely we know that the first of all we need to gather the requirement, and then you need to design, and then there is a implementation, and after the implementation then you need to verification and the other things that you need to do. So what we can say, first of all you need to gather the requirement, then you need to design. So design is the second phase of waterfall model. Design is the second phase of waterfall model. Let's see, in which phase of SDLC is the feasibility study conducted? SDLC means software development life cycle. Now that particular software is feasible or not, such type of studies conducted at what time? So it should be done at the time of planning. When you are planning to make a software, you need to check that it is feasible or not, because after implementation you are checking the feasibility. It is senseless, because the complete product is going to ready and then you are going to check that it is feasible or not. So that would be the worst situation. So that's why what we can say, first of all at the time of planning you need to check that it is feasible or not. So you can go with the first answer. Got it? So first is your answer. Let's move to the next one. In agile development, agile is also a kind of a model to design the software. Which methodology uses sprints? Okay, so there are different type of methodology. We are talking about the methodology that you are using as sprints. So it is Scrum. Okay, it is going to use that methodology. That is the methodology that we are going to use for a sprint. Let's see. Which testing level focus on individual component or a model of the software? See, software is what we can say that would be the big thing. What we are doing, we are dividing that software into the number of modules, and we are going to perform a test on a specific module. So such type of testing is called a unit testing. So if you are doing your work, you are testing on a small size of that particular software, or on a piece of code, or we can say that on a specific module, that testing is called unit testing. So we can go with the first answer. Okay, let's move to the next one. Which of the following is an advantage of incremental model? That is another software development model. What are the advantage of incremental model? So in incremental model, what we are doing, we are not going to do all the things at the beginning. We are going to work in an incremental fashion. Okay, and the benefit of this is what? If there is any error in the module, then you can identify that error earlier as compared to the other model. That would be the benefit of incremental model. So what we can say, it allows earlier detection of error. Are you getting my point? So second is your answer. Let's move to the next one. Which of the following best describe debugging? What is exactly the debugging? What is exactly the debugging? So what we can say, supposed to be you are having a particular program, and in this program if there is some error, okay, so to identify that error and to fix that error is the debugging. Means we need to identify what exactly the error in a program, and we need to fix that error also. That complete is called debugging. So we can say that identifying and fixing error in a program is called debugging. You can go with the last option. Let's move to the next question. Which of the following requirements deal with the performance, reliability and security? If we are talking about, see here, performance of a system is reliable or not, and the security of a system, they all are So the next question is, which type of requirement deals with the performance, reliability and security? So whenever you are going to make a software, so definitely you need to measure the performance of that software, reliability of that software and the security over that software. So this terms and these requirements are basically non-functional requirements. Okay, functional requirement is what? Supposed to be you are going to make a calculator. So that calculator should do the calculation work. It should perform the addition, multiplication, subtraction like that. Okay, but it going to perform in a reliable way or not, there is any security or not, or the performance is good or not. This is the non-functional requirement. So that's why you can go with the third answer. It's a non-functional requirement. Let's move to the next question. The question is related to the computer organization. Okay. Previous questions are related with what? Software engineering. Before that, the questions from the digital logic. Now the question is from the computer organization. You can see the question is what? Which register holds the address of the next instruction to be executed? Okay. So what we can say? Program counter is a register that holds the address of next instruction. Instruction register holds the address of currently executed instruction, while the program counter is going to hold the address of next instruction. So you can simply go with the third answer. It's nothing but the program counter. Now, which memory holds frequently accessed data for fast retrieval? Okay, there are different kind of memory. Like we can say that there is a register memory. Okay, then there is a cache memory. Okay, then there is a main memory. Okay, then there is a secondary memory. Okay, in main memory we can say that there is a RAM-ROM. The fastest device is register, but in the option register is not given. So what is the second fastest device? That is the cache. So you can go with the first answer. Cache is the fastest memory. Got it? Let's see. The 8086 microprocessor has how many address lines? So the number of address lines in 8086 microprocessor is 20. So you can simply go with the answer 2. That is 20 address lines are there. Are you getting my point? Let's move to the next question. The primary purpose of interrupt in a microprocessor is, what exactly the interrupt perform? So can we say that interrupt is simply we are using to handle the IO operation efficiently. Like CPU is doing its own work. Whenever input device gives you some operation to perform some operation, whenever input device sends some instruction for the execution. So your CPU take that instruction as an interrupt on a current execution. So what we can say, interrupt is nothing, it is simply used to handle IO operations efficiently. Okay, so that would be the point. Let's move to the next one. Which of the following is a volatile memory? If we're talking about the volatile memory means what? Simply if electricity is supplied, then data is exist in that particular memory. If electricity is not supplied, then the memory, the data inside the memory is going to erase. As we know that in a hard disk we can save our data for a longer time, means if we are going to shut down our system, still data exists. In flash drive data exists, in ROM data exists, but RAM, random access memory, is a volatile memory. So simply whenever you need to execute a program, you need to load that program into the RAM. Once power off, the data inside the RAM is completely erased. So we can go with the first one, first option. RAM is your answer. Are you getting my point? RAM is your answer. Okay, let's move to the next question. The size of general purpose register in 8086 microprocessor. If we are using 8086 microprocessor, then the size of general purpose registers are 16-bit long. You can go with the answer number 2. 16-bit long. Are you getting that point? So this is direct question. Let's move to the next one. Which component of CPU coordinates all activity inside us? Okay. So we can say that the CPU is the brain of computer, and in which there are two units. The first one is the ALU, arithmetic logic unit, and another one is the CU, control unit. So all the task that is related to the controlling of the devices is done by the control unit, and arithmetic logic operations is done by the ALU. So they are asking you the coordination. So what will be the activity that happened inside the CPU? So all the activity is coordinated by the unit that is called a control unit. You can go with the answer number 2, control unit. Okay, let's move to the next one. What is the result of binary operation? If we are doing this binary addition, then what would be the result? 1101, then 1010. Okay, we need to take simple addition. So 1, 0 plus 1, 1, 1 plus 0, 1, 1 plus 1, 0, and carry 1. So if we are having a 5-bit register, that would be our answer. So we can say that yes, we are having an answer in 5-bit. So you can go with the first option. Got it? Now carry flag. When the carry flag is going to set, see, when you are going to perform any arithmetic operation between two values, okay, and if carry is going to generate, so whenever the carry is going to generate on a most significant bit, like in the previous example, you can see, suppose to be I am having a number like this. So 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0 and the carry 1, this bit is called most significant bit. So if carry is generated at the most significant bit, in that case we need to set a flag that is called a carry flag. You can go with the last option. Next question. Which of the following statement is true about the 2's complement representation? Okay. The MSB is always 0? No. MSB is 0 only for the positive numbers, but MSB is 1 for the negative numbers. Okay. The MSB determines the sign of a number. Yes. MSB determines sign of a number. If MSB is 0 means that number is positive. If MSB is 1, that means that number is negative. Okay. So simply you can go with the answer B. MSB is used to represent the sign of a number. Which of the following is not a type of addressing mode in microprocessor? So there is an immediate addressing mode, there is a direct addressing mode, there is an indirect addressing mode, but there is no sequential addressing mode. So this one is wrong. Which of the following is a type of ROM that can be programmed only once? So programmable ROM is programmed only once. So PROM is a programmable ROM. EPROM means erasable programmable ROM. Means that ROM we can erase and we can update the new content. But they are asking you only once. So that's why you need to go with the answer 1. PROM. 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 Okay. Now the question related to the concept of data structure. Which data structure uses the FIFO concept? First in, first out. See, first in, first out is used in a queue data structure. What will be the data item that we are going to insert first? It is going to out first. Stack uses LIFO concept, last in, first out. Tree uses FIFO concept, first in, first out. Linked list, we can insert, delete, anywhere. Means throughout the link we can perform the operation at any node, no issue. And the same for the tree. There is no LIFO FIFO. If you want to insert in middle, you can insert. If you want to insert in last, you can insert. If you want to insert anywhere, you can insert, as well as delete. Okay. Let's move to the next one. What is the time complexity of binary search on sorted array? See, if you want to perform binary search operation on a sorted array, so first of all, what to do? We need to find the mid and we need to compare element with mid. So either your element is equal to mid, or it is greater than mid, or it is less than mid. If it is greater than mid, then you need to search only in the right part. If it is less than mid, then you need to search only in the left part. So because of that, what we can say, the recurrence relation corresponding to the binary search become Tn equals to Tn by 2 plus 1. And if you're talking about the complexity, it is nothing, it is simply log n in a worst situation. You can go with the answer 3. Got it? Just remember that point. Which operation in a queue removes an element? Which operation in a queue removes an element? So we can perform two type of operation on a queue. EQ operation to insert element and DQ operation to delete element from the front. You can go with the answer number 4. DQ operation. Got it? Let's move to the next one. Which of the following is not a linear data structure? There are various type of data structures, linear as well as non-linear. In linear data structure, we can say that array is there, stack is there, queue is there. Tree and graph are non-linear data structures. So you can go with the tree. Tree is one of the non-linear data structure. Are you getting my point? Let's move to the next one. In selection sort, which element is selected at each step while sorting the elements in ascending order? See, in selection sort, what we are doing, supposed to be we are having a numbers like that. So first of all, what we are doing, we are finding the smallest element of that array and we are going to swap that element at the first position element. So 10 and the smallest is 2. Just do the swapping. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 11, 10. Okay, like this. Now first element at its fixed position. From the rest part, again you need to find the smallest one. So that's why you can go with the answer 2. Always we are going to find the smallest element of that part and replacing by the first position of that part. Which type of data structure is used in recursion? See, whenever you need to call or you need to solve the recursive program, you need a data structure that is called a stack. Because whenever there is a recursive calling, stack is going to grow. When recursion meet its base condition, your stack is going to shrink. Means we need to perform the push operation. When recursion is going to call itself, when recursion is going to terminate, we need to perform the pop operation. So the data structure that we are going to use is what? It's a stack. Got it? The stack is your answer. Which sorting algorithm is based on divide and conquer approach? Basically, there are two sorting algorithms. They are based on divide and conquer approach. The first one is the quick sort and the second one is the merge sort. Both the technique uses divide and conquer approach. In the option, merge sort is given, so that's why we can go with answer number 3. Got it? Let's move to the next one. Which of the following is not a dynamic data structure? See, dynamic data structure means what? If we can grow or shrink the size of that data structure at runtime, then it is dynamic. Linked list is a dynamic data structure. We can implement that with the help of pointer. Stack we can implement using static as well as using dynamic. Queue we can implement using static as well as using dynamic. But array is a static memory allocation. In what will be the element that you want to store in an array, before using that array you need to fix the size of that array. That's why we can say that array is not a dynamic structure. What will be the time complexity of deleting an element from the beginning of linked list? Let's see. Supposed to be I am having that linked list. I want to delete that element. Okay, let's see, this is a start. So what I need to do in that case, see here very carefully. First of all, we need to set one pointer to start. So first line that I need to write is p equals to start. Okay, then I need to send a start to its next, because after deleting this node, this second node become the starting node. So after executing this instruction, your start is pointing to 2. Now the third point, what we can do, I can free the memory area P. So this node is going to delete. And now your linked list starts from 2. So how many operations I need to perform? I need to execute this 3 instructions. 3 instruction means constant number of instruction. If your program does not have any loop, does not have any recursion, there is simply a sequential code. So complexity for this is constant. It's simply order of 1. So next one is, which of the following sorting algorithm is most efficient in the average case? So on an average, if you are talking about the average case of a bubble sort, it's simply n square. Selection sort is also n square. Insertion short is also n square, but the quick short average case complexity is n log n. So they're asking about the efficiency. So efficiency means the time complexity is minimum, and minimum means it's a quick short. Okay, you can go with answer 3. Let's move to the next one. Now this question is related to the concept of computer network. Which OSI layer is responsible for end-to-end delivery? So end-to-end delivery or end-to-end communication, the layer is transport. So transport layer is responsible to do this. What is the default subnet mask of class B IP address? If you're talking about the class B IP address, so as we know that the IP address is what? It is a 32-bit address, and there are 4 octet, 88 bits in the 4 octet. So for the class B IP address, first 16-bit represents the net ID and last 16-bit represents the host ID. If we want to find the subnet mask, then all the bits of net ID is 1. .0.0 like this. So how much it is? This become 255. How much this is? So this is the binary number. Decimal corresponding to that is what? It's 255. So you can go with the answer second. They're asking you what is the main function of router. So the main function of router is to do the routing. And routing, how it can do the routing? So it is simply going to switch the packets. So packet switching. Packet switching. The primary purpose of IP address is what? So it is simply used to identify the device in a network. Okay, so that is a logical address used to identify a device on a network. Which protocol operate on a transport layer of OSI model? Basically, there are 2 protocols. They are going to operate on a transport layer of OSI model. The one is TCP, connection oriented, and another one is UDP, connectionless. Okay, so an option TCP is given, so we can go with the answer 2. But both the protocols are going to use at a transport layer of OSI model. Got it? Which statement best describe the metropolitan area network? Basically, there are 3 type of area network: lane, local area network, smaller area; main, metropolitan area network like a city; and WAN, wide area network like a world. Okay, the network that connects multiple LANs within a city is this is MAN. A network that covers a small geographical area such as a single building, that is nothing but LAN. A network that span a large geographical area such as a country, so we can go with the MAN. A wireless network providing access to the mobile users. So wireless network providing access to the mobile users, it is also a worldwide. Okay, so it's also a category of WAN. Let's move to the next. Which network model is based on direct connection between computer without a central server? Okay, so can we go with the peer-to-peer model? Is a direct connection between the devices. Let's see. We are having a one host device. There's another host device. Okay, and if they are going to connect it directly, this is called point-to-point connection or a peer-to-peer connection. Got it? Let's move to the next one. Which protocol is used to resolve IP address to MAC address? Okay, IP address means Internet Protocol address or logical address. If we want to convert logical address to physical address, MAC address is what? Physical address. Okay, so IP to MAC conversion, we are using ARP protocol, address resolution protocol. And if you want to convert MAC address to IP address, then for that we are using RARP, reverse address resolution protocol. So here you can go with the first answer. ARP is going to use. Let's move to the next one. What is the primary function of the MAC address? What is the main function of MAC address? What is the primary function of MAC address? So we can say that the MAC address is simply used to identify a device locally. MAC address is fixed. IP addresses may be changed. Means IP address is a network address. Means if your device is connected to some network, so its IP address is something. If you want to change the network, then your IP address is going to change. But MAC address is always fixed because that is a physical address of that local device. You can go with the first answer. Let's see, which layer of OSI model is responsible for error detection, error correction? So error detection and correction is done at a layer that is called a data link layer. Okay, data link layer. The error detection correction work is also done at a transport layer, but transport layer is not in the option. You can go with the data link layer. Which device is used to amplify and retransmit the signals? We can go with the repeater. Repeater is simply what, like supposed to be we are having a signal, but each signal has its capacity after it's somehow for a distance it is going to strong. After that the signal may weak. So to retransmit that signal and to amplify the signal, we need to apply the repeater. So repeater is again going to repeat the same signal at the same frequency again. Okay, you can go with the answer number 4. 4 is your answer. Next is question number 50th question of that particular paper. What is the purpose of subnetting? Why we are using the subnetting? So see, suppose if we are doing the netting, means we are making a large network, but inside a large network if you want to make a sub networks, so for that you need to do the subnetting. Like that you are having a university, but that university, if you are having only a single network for the university, at the place of that there are different colleges inside the university. So what we are doing, we are making a sub network for that particular institutes, or corresponding to that, suppose there are multiple departments, so we are going to make a sub network. So to reduce the network congestion and improve efficiency. So what is the benefit for that? Supposed to be someone sends a letter to the university. Okay, so if we are going to send that letter to the university reception, what will happen? They are just checking that this particular letter is for the computer science department, so they are sending that to the CS department. So that would be the subnetting. So it reduces the network congestion. Are you getting that point? It reduces the network congestion. That is only the reason. Which scheduling algorithm gives each process an equal share CPU time? So that is simply the time shared task and done by the round robin algorithm. In round robin algorithm there is one time slice. On the basis of that time slice, what exactly happened, what will be the value? Supposed to be there is a process takes 4 unit of time for execution, some process takes 3 unit of time execution, some process takes 5 unit time execution. If the time slice of round robin is 2, means each process is going to execute 2 times and then they are going to repeat in a cyclic manner. Second is your answer. What is purpose of page table? Page table is simply, we can say that is used to convert the logical address to the physical address. Okay, our program is going to divide into the number of pages and our main memory is going to divide into the number of frames. Now we need to store that page into the frame. So which page is going to store in which frame, it is represented by, or it is stored in a table that is called a page table. So it is mainly used to map logical address to the physical address. Got it? Exclusive swapping between memory and disk of operating system is referred to as. See here, what exactly we are doing? We are not going to store the whole program into the memory, okay, because we have a limited amount of memory. So what exactly we are doing? The required pages are only going to store into the memory. That is called a demand paging. And whenever there is a demand of a new page, we need to load that new page to the memory, and we can swap out the existing page to the secondary memory. Just see here, supposed to be that would be your RAM or main memory, and this is your hard disk, secondary memory. Suppose you want some page, you can load that page here. So at that page, at that time, you can swap another page from this. This is called a swap in, and this is called a swap out. If swap in, swap out is going to hold very fastly or exclusively, means page is going to here and then send here, then here and here, here and so on, like that. Means only there is a page replacement, but there is no execution. So this phenomena is called thrashing. Means when the degree of multi-programming is very high, then only page replacement is going to done, but there is no execution. That phenomena is called thrashing. Let's move to the next one. The process control block contain which of the following information? See, whenever you need to execute a program, so program is in execution is called a process. Each process has its PCB, process control block, that contains certain information like process ID, and we can say that your process is going to, like there is a certain states of a process. Like when you are going to create a process, it is in new. When process is ready for the execution, it is in ready state. When process is going for the execution, means it is in a running state. If process is successfully completed, it goes in a terminate state. If process is going to wait for some IO devices, it is going in a IO state, like that. Okay. So currently process is in which state? It is written in a PCB, process control block. So PCB contained process ID, process state, and there are lots of other things. You can go with the first option. What does the term context switch refer to in an operating system? First, switching the CPU from one process to another process. Okay. So switching the CPU from one process to another process is called context switching, definitely. Like see here, supposed to be this is the new state. From that your process is going to the ready state, and now for execution we can send that into the running state. Okay, like suppose in a round robin fashion, if the execution of that process is going to completed, or suppose its time slice is over, then in that case if time slice is over, we can send that process again to the ready. So we are going to submit new process to the running and existing process to the ready. So that is called context switching. What is the critical section in process synchronization? So we can say that critical section is the area where process is going to protect its common shared variable. So it's nothing, it is simply a protected area of a memory. Okay. Which component of operating system provide an interface for a user to access its services? So if user want to access services of operating system, it need to use a system call. Like if you want to create a child process, you need to use a fork system call, like that. So system call is your answer. Which page replacement algorithm suffers from Ballade anomaly? So first of all, we need to understand what is the Ballade anomaly. Normally what will happen, suppose if you have a limited size of memory and you want to execute some program, okay, so you need to load the pages of that program into the memory. Okay, you need to load pages into the memory. If pages available in a memory, it is called page hit. If pages is not available in a memory, then we need to store that page from secondary memory to main memory. That is called a page fault. Okay, so if you have a limited amount of memory, then definitely the page faults are more. So if we are going to increase the memory or number of frames in a memory, so we can store more pages in the memory. So the number of page faults are going to reduce. That is our motive. But sometime what will happen, if we are going to increase the size of memory, at the place of reducing the page fault, your page fault is going to increase. That phenomena is called Balade anomaly. And this is because of what? FIFO? Yes. It's occur in a first in first out or FCFS, we can say that. Okay. So Balade, FIFO is suffer from Balade anomaly. Which issue in process synchronization is prevented by using a semaphore? Deadlock. Deadlock is the issue in process synchronization is prevented by using the semaphore. So you can go with the answer to deadlocks. What is the main function of operating system's scheduler? Simply to manage CPU time per process. Means there are many processes, we want to execute all the processes and execution is done by the CPU. Now how CPU is going to treat that process? So here your scheduler plays an important role. Like if you are going to use FCFS, means first process is going to serve firstly. If you are going to use SJF, means out of all the shortest burst time process is going to execute firstly. If you are using round robin, means what? Each process is going to execute in FCFS manner but for a limited amount of time. Paging involves breaking physical memory into the fixed size blocks is called C. If we are in a paging, just remember one point, in paging the program is going to divide into the number of pages. Okay, and your memory is going to divide into the number of frames, and the page size should be equal to the frame size. So they are asking you the physical memory. So memory is going to divide in what? Frame. You can go with the first answer. The interval from the time of submission of a process to the time of completion is called, when your process is going to submit and when your process is going to terminate, that complete time is called a turnaround time of that process. Means how much amount of time your process reside in the system is called turnaround time. You can go with the answer second, turnaround time. Now the questions related from the database management system. Which of the following ensure a referential integrity in a relational database? So referential primary key is related to the, what we can say, the key that is uniquely identify a particular record. But when you want to make a relation between two tables, or you need to find some data from a base table, then you need to make a key that is called a foreign key. So foreign key is your answer. So to preserve a referential integrity, we need to use foreign key. Which normal form removes transitive dependency? So if your relation has a transitive dependency, means it is not in third normal form. So transitive dependency is removed in 3NF. If your relation is in 3NF, then there is no transitive dependency. 165 question number means this is 165th question of the whole paper and 65th question of the computer science portion. Now see, what they are asking, which type of database model uses table with row and column? Okay, so in DBMS, relational model is going to represent your database in the form of table, and each table consists certain number of columns corresponding to the certain number of rows. So relational model is your answer. Which of the following is not a valid PL SQL control command? If then else we can use in PL SQL. case we can use in PLSQL, loop we can use in PLSQL, switch we cannot use in PLSQL. So switch we cannot use. What is the purpose of having clause in SQL? Okay, see, so if you need to apply certain condition over a grouped data, so that condition you need to write with having at the place of where. By default what we can say, whenever there is certain condition, with the help of that we are going to filter the rows, we are writing that in a where clause. Okay, but whenever aggregate function comes in a condition, at the place of where we are using having. What is the reason behind that? Because that condition is going to perform on a grouped data. Okay, so you can go with the answer number 1. Which of the following SQL contain an error? Which has an error? Select star from employee where employee ID is equal to this. Select star from employee where employee ID is this. Select employee from see. First one gives you what? It gives you all the information of employee whose employee ID is 1003. There is no error. It gives you all employees where employee ID is 1002. There is no error. It gives you information of all the employee ID of that employee table. Select all from employee where employee ID this. No, we are not going to use all here. We are going to use a star. So that gives you error. This is a syntax error. You cannot use that. Are you getting my point? Let's move to the next question, 169. Dash is not a DDL command. DDL, data definition language. The command that is used to change the structure of a table. Alter, we can increase or decrease the number of columns. So it is DDL command. Drop, we can delete the complete structure permanently. It is DDL command. Truncate, basically truncate work on a data, but because of its auto committed nature, it comes in a DDL. Update is DML command. Okay, is not auto committed. So that's why you can go with the answer number this too. Update is not a DDL. Which of the following is a key characteristic of NoSQL database? Fixed schema, relational data model, scalability and flexibility. Generally, NoSQL database are become very popular because of scalability and flexibility. Let's move to the next one. Which of the following is not a NoSQL database type? Out of this, which is NoSQL database type? Document based is NoSQL. Key value store is a NoSQL. Graph based is a NoSQL. Relational database is not NoSQL. It is SQL. The fourth one. What is the purpose of normalization in relational database? What is the main purpose of normalization? So simply can we say that to remove the anomalies, insertion, deletion, updation, as well as to reduce the data redundancy. So we can go with the last option, to eliminate data redundancy and improve integrity. Which of the following is not a principle of object-oriented programming? C. Encapsulation, abstraction, polymorphism, inheritance. They all are a principle of object-oriented programming. But interfaces are not a principle of object-oriented programming. Okay. Let's see. Which keyword is used to define an object in C++? So if you want to define object in C++, you need to use the new keyword. New is used to allocate memory to that object. New, second. What is the output of following code? Okay, so there is some code We need to find. The code is written in the C++. See, the value of x is initially 5. Then y is what? X plus plus. This is post increment. So first of all, the value of x is assigned to y. It's 5. And then the value of x is going to increase. It's 6. See out y. So y is what? It's 5. 5 is your answer. Okay. In post, at the place of this, if they are writing y equals to plus plus x. So this is pre-increment. In that case, first of all, the value of x is going to increase, means it becomes 6. And then we need to copy that data. Got it? That is the difference. Which of the following is not a type of construction in C++? See, there's a copy construction is one of the type. Default constructor is also a type. Parameterized constructor is also a type. Static constructor is not a type. We can go with answer number 3. There is no static constructor concept. Which of the following operator cannot be overload? Okay. Scope resolution operator you can't overload. So that's why we can go with the first answer. What is the correct syntax of declaring pure virtual function in C++? See, whenever you need to represent the pure virtual function, first of all you need to write virtual, then void. If you want to make a void type function, then the name of function like this, 2 is equal to 0. C is your answer. C is your answer. Okay. Why you are using AND in C++? Can we say that to change the line? It moves the cursor to the next line and flush the output buffer. Now we need to find output of this code. So initially by using this you can say that we can store 10 in a. There is one pointer that is called address of A. Suppose address of A is 1000. So the value of PTR is what? 1000. Now see out pointer PTR. Pointer PTR means value at PTR. So PTR is 1000. So value at PTR is what? It's nothing. It's a 10. You can go with answer B. 10. Okay. What is main purpose of templates in C++? Can we say that it is templates are used to define functions and classes that can operate on different data types? So you can go with answer number 4. What is the meaning of an encapsulation? Can we say that hiding of implementation details? We are not going to show the how exactly is going to implement the things. We are just going focus on a main function like a switchboard. So how we are having only the switch. The work is what? On and off. We are not having a background detail how exactly the wiring is going to done. Which keyword is used to define constant in Java? Can we say that we can use the final keyword? Which of the following is a valid declaration of Java array? So int, the name of array. If you want to assign the size, so you can say that new int 5. Okay. So the size of array is what? 5 integer elements we can store. Is collection of classes and interface? Can we say that package is collection of classes and interface? Next question. What is the purpose of super keyword in Java? Can we say that super keyword in Java is used to refer the superclass object? Superclass object. Which of the following is not an event class in Java? Focus event, item event, layout event. Layout event is not an event class in Java. Which of the following is the superclass of all exceptions in Java? So can we say that throwable? Throwable is a superclass for all exceptions in a Java. Which method is used to display output of an applet? If you want to display output of an applet, you need to use the pent class. Pent. What is pent? P-A-N-T, pent. Now there is one Java program. We need to find what would be the output of that Java program. Okay, so you can see here there is one output class. There is a main function, public static void main. You can see there is one array in which we are going to store the 5 element. What they are saying, I equal to 0, we need to start a loop from I equal to 0, I less than array dot length minus 2. So length of array is how much? 5. 5 minus 2 means 3. So your loop is going to start from I equal to 0 and I less than 3, means it is going to work for 0, then 1 and then 2. Okay, and you need to do the increment of I. So see, when first the value of I is what? 0. So can we say that 0 is less than 3, condition satisfied. Then you need to print system.out.println array element. So array position 1, element is what? 1, then second 2 and then 3. So when the value of I is 0, it is going to print 1. When the value of I is 1, it is going to print 2. When the value of I is 2, it is going to print 3. So we can go with the answer 1, 2, 3. Which of the following is a valid way to create a thread in a class? How we can create thread in a class? Implementing the runnable interface. We can create thread in a class by implementing runnable interface. Which of the following is a top level container in AWT? So the top level container in AWT is what? It's a frame. Frame is a top level container. So frame is your answer. Now the question is related to the CSS. The correct way to external CSS. Link, that would be the way. We can go with this. Which of the following is a client side scripting? So JavaScript is a client side scripting. JavaScript. Which HTML tag is used to insert an image? So for that we need to write img src and the path of that image. Third one. src is shortcut for the source. Which of the following is not a JavaScript data type? String, Boolean, object is a JavaScript data type, but float is not a JavaScript data type. You can go with answer 3. What is the full form of XML? Can we say that it is extensible markup language? Which jQuery function is used to make an element invisible? Hide. Hide is your answer. What is the purpose of echo statement in PHP? So echo is used to display output on a web page. Echo is used to display output on a web page. Got it? That would be your answer. Now the last question of this paper is, which PHP function is used to redirect a page? If you want to redirect a page, then you need to use the header function. Got it? So these are the total questions of your 2025 paper. Thank you so much for watching this particular session.